India has an ambitious goal, 500 gigawatt by 2030. You as the industrial leader or as a corporate leader, where do you think the corporates can play a role in this?
So in year 2014, when the markets were quite dull, and at that time, we decided that we'll be 1 million ton.
Rupees 3 per unit saving or power delivery in 2 months? Which one would you pick?
3 rupees.
Not early delivery?
No, the module prices have touched
The rock bottom.
Yes. And we are now seeing module prices going up slightly.
Right.
My personal advice to the viewers and the people who are interested in the renewable, I think this is the best time. This state, they did not align with the practices that were happening, and the industry has become bust. Earlier, the entire supply chain was in China, but now slowly and steadily it is coming to India now.
Right.
So module making, cell making, and other balance of plant systems, they are now coming in India. It was usually joked off.
Today at our podcast, we have Mr. Anish Bansal, who is the whole-time director at Hitech Pipes. Hitech Pipes is the leading steel pipe manufacturer, and they have done 16 megawatt of renewable energy till now, 35% renewable energy level, saving 6 crore rupees per annum and moving to 70 megawatt renewable energy by 2030. Mr. Bansal led this journey from scratch, from doing a 2 megawatt to now 16 megawatt now. Mr. Bansal passed out from Cardiff University, joined as marketing executive, and now a whole-time director at Hitech Pipes, led the company from 2 megawatt to now 16 megawatt. Do watch this podcast if you want to get value on 3 things. 1, how to decide which renewable energy structure to go for, Capex or Opex. Second, if you're the one who's thinking how to start the renewable energy journey, you have a lot of fears, then do watch the 3 advices that he shared in this podcast. And number 3, the pioneer in taking a green hydrogen in his industry, the only player. So you will get a lot more insights if you're excited about new renewable energy solutions like green hydrogen. Trust me, you will find a lot more value, and do like, subscribe my channel if you want for us to bring more such guests and inspire you. So Mr. Bansal, welcome. 4 states, 8 manufacturing plants, 16 megawatt, 35% renewable energy, enjoying 6 crore savings every year, on the path to become 100% renewable energy goal by 2030. How are you feeling?
Thank you, Gaurav. First of all, wishing you and your viewers a very, very happy new year. And I hope the sun shines even brighter this year on the renewable energy sector.
Right.
So our journey, started in year 2019 when we had set up our first captive rooftop solar plant at Secunderabad, UP. And that plant gave us a lot of insight into solar sector and how we can use this renewable energy source as the mainstream, and the kind of savings we have had, and we have met our ESG goals. When we are dealing with international clients, ESG becomes a very, very important factor. And I think we have taken a lead, in this sector.
Right.
And
Right.
we are quite optimistic
Right.
about our goals.
Right. So walk me through when you were deciding about your first plant in 2019. Okay, let's go ahead and do a renewable energy. What was the emotions? What were you thinking inside your office? How did you convince the board? Okay, let's make that investment, because 2019 is almost 6 years back.
Yeah.
And the industry was also going through a phases, and you are one of the pioneers. So can you walk me through? Can you give me the emotion, the story behind how did you lead this internally in your organization?
So Gaurav, I remember, I reading like a few books on the climate change and all, and that gave me a lot of insight as to why the renewable energy is so important
Right.
for our lives.
Right.
And it is imperative source of energy.
Right.
And I think India is so energy deficit, and I personally believe that renewable source is the only energy source that that will help us mitigating this
Right. Absolutely.
energy deficit.
Right.
And I was inspired to take initiative, and we took this step at Secunderabad facility. And I remember back then, the Capex cost was,
Secunderabad is UP, right?
yes,
Okay.
yes. And back then, the Capex cost was also significantly
Right,
higher
right,
to what it is
right.
today.
How much did you pay?
So we spent almost like 4.5 crores
Okay.
on one
For a
megawatt.
megawatt.
Yeah,
Okay.
for
This
one
is
megawatt.
2019.
Yeah,
Okay.
2019. And but then, even then, the savings that we have had, and that was a pilot project for us, and we implemented this rooftop model across all our facilities since
Right.
then. And we've been adding approximately 2 megawatts
Right.
every year.
Right.
And we are getting the benefits.
Right. Right. So in 2019, like you have plants in Andhra, Gujarat,
Yes.
and you are expanding to other states. Why did you choose UP? Like, was the policy favorable, or what was the reason? Like, what were the top two reasons for you to go for Uttar Pradesh first?
So UP is our flagship plant.
Okay.
This was set up in year 1985. So it's a big plant
Okay.
with a lot of
Right.
rooftop space.
Okay.
So this was, it was a, very easy call. Put up the first plant in UP.
Right.
And, in 2019, the grid infrastructure in UP was not that great.
Right.
So,
Right.
that was the first, plant
Right.
where we decided to put up the rooftop capacity. And I think I was able to convince the management,
Okay.
about,
How?
the matrix and, and the future.
Okay.
So I really believe in technology, and we know the technology can play a pivotal role
Right.
in our climate change
Right.
crisis.
Right.
And I think once that installation was done, and we saw this for real, that the savings are there, the generation is there, and it's not a hypothetical picture.
Right.
It's a reality.
Right. Right.
And since then, and a lot of technological advancements, like in terms of cell efficiencies and policy regulations,
Right.
have changed a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
So was the UP policy like when you were evaluating, okay, let's go ahead with Uttar Pradesh first
yes.
because that's your flagship plant. Now you have been pioneer in steel pipe. 1985 you started. Solar was pretty new, and taking a call of making 4.5 crore investment on a megawatt project brings a lot of questions, a lot of fears.
Yes.
Like what if, what technology, which vendor, what should be the design. So how did you decode this? Like, did you research? Did you meet people? Like, how did you come up to, okay, let's go ahead now? And what are the due diligence steps that you did?
So firstly, we did a lot of research before, before jumping in.
Okay.
And the kind of the panels or the kind of inverters, I was personally very deeply involved in the selection of the vendors, selection of the of the raw material partners.
Right.
And I think after detailed and a lot of like reference check from the market, from the industry, we were good to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Mr. Bansal, like, if I can ask you, why did you choose Capex when Opex was available? Right? First project, lot of fears. In Opex, you can pass on the risk to the developer, enjoy the savings. But why did you choose Capex? Was there any particular reason? Because you were testing the waters.
Yes.
Like, the viewers will be interested to know, like, how did you make a decision between Capex and Opex?
Honestly, the first plant, you remember, the government used to give 80% accelerated depreciation.
Yes. Okay.
So I think that was the first, the major, incentive for us to go for the private Capex.
So you got it?
Yeah, we got the 80% accelerated depreciation. And that was the first incentive. But then the cost savings and our ESG goals, then that was the center stage.
Right.
The economics and and our carbon neutrality goal.
Right.
So that has now become the center stage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Mr. Bansal, like for this project only, 2019, 2025, 6 years,
Yes.
payback ho gaya?
So
Is
yeah,
it as per envisaged?
So yeah. So I think out of 16 megawatts, we would have
Like only on this first 1 megawatt.
oh yes,
Because it has a 6 years journey.
absolutely.
So it's like the numbers that you envisage, are the numbers better or at the same level? Like,
No, at the same level, we
At the same level.
forecasted around 4.5 to 5 years.
and you achieved that.
Yeah, we achieved that.
Fantastic.
Yes.
And what went good for you? Like, why were you able to achieve it? Because some people say, okay, the generation estimated may not be there.
Yes.
The project cost overrun may happen.
Yes.
Right. So, like, I'm sure you must have done few good things which would have helped you achieve the payback. What were those? Like your learnings.
So, the first thing is the maintenance of the
Maintenance.
plant.
Mhm.
It is very, very important.
Right.
If you don't maintain, your generation will dive down by 20-25%.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I think we have a special maintenance team with us.
In-house.
Yeah, in-house.
So you developed an in-house team for
Yes,
this.
and
Okay.
there are
Awesome.
SOPs
Hmm.
when it comes to cleaning and the maintenance of inverters and modules.
Right.
So
Right.
and there are a lot of MIS done
Hmm.
on the solar power generation
Okay.
every month. We
Hmm.
review this solar generation every month
Every
across
month.
all our plants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And if there is some some difference, or if there is some change, we analyze that change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's a regular monitoring.
Yeah.
So monitoring and in-house O&M ensure that it happens.
Yes.
And was there any need to change any equipments? Was there any burnout happened? Anything which went wrong?
Yes, in one of our plants in South, we faced, because of the grid voltage fluctuation, couple of our inverters, they went down.
Okay.
But
This was a Capex project.
Yeah, this was
Okay. Then what did you do?
And thankfully, it was covered under warranty.
Okay.
And the vendor, changed
Okay.
the inverters for us. There was a downtime of about 1.5 to 2 months.
Okay.
But that was the sacrifice we made.
Okay.
But then rest, it's all good.
Okay, understood. And this was your first project. I understand that you have done both Opex and Capex.
Yes.
So how did you switch from Capex to Opex? Like, and why did you switch it?
So,
And what was that moment when you decided कि अब switch करते हैं?
so basically, after COVID, we thought, the cost of solar panels was coming down,
Okay,
and the Opex
Yes.
cost was also,
right,
coming down.
Right.
It started with, I think about 3.5 to 4 rupees, and then it came down gradually.
right.
So, Opex for us was an opportunity,
Mhm.
that we could scale up our renewable footprint, and we were getting the same benefits if we would have done, through captive sources.
Okay,
And Opex was the second model, and the third model was group captive.
right,
This was a big move
Hmm.
from our end.
right,
This was 5 megawatt group
Hmm.
captive plant,
right,
and this was among the first policies of the newly formed UB
right,
government.
right.
And this policy has given us, a great insight about, how we can further explore the renewable energy,
Right.
especially the solar sector.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to know like the nuances of shortlisting a vendor for Capex
Yeah.
versus nuances of shortlisting a vendor or a developer for Opex are quite different.
Yeah.
Even the agreements are
Yeah.
also different. So how did you do that? Like you had built up a knowledge on Capex. You know there is accelerated depreciation payback of 4 years,
Yes.
and you have already फूल लग गया था मुंह पे तो then switching to Opex is like you have to pass on certain value to developer,
Yes.
right? Because it may not be at the same level. So how are you ready? How did you decide how to choose a vendor? So two questions on this.
Yeah. So Opex was, like we could not continuously be on the Capex mode ourselves.
Okay.
Because, it would mean a lot of, upfront, and we want to balance our Capex because
Okay.
we are expanding in our tubes and pipe industry also.
Right, right.
So we need to conserve capital for that also.
Okay. And capital is not, is limited.
Yes.
Right. So you have to balance that. Okay.
Yes.
This was one reason.
Yeah.
Second
was, we could immediately scale up. So across our multiple
Right.
locations,
Right.
we didn't have to go like one by one.
Right.
So, Maharashtra, we went with the Opex mode.
Right. Right.
And then group captive, as I said.
Right.
And coming to your, second part of the question regarding the selection of the vendor when
Yes.
it comes to whether Opex or group captive.
Right.
So here, I think a lot of due diligence is required.
Right.
The track record of the developer, the past performance,
Right.
and the financial strength,
Right.
and also the terms of the PPA.
Right.
I think
Right.
the God is in the details, as they say.
Right.
And And out of those, 35, 40, clauses,
Right.
I think you have to really deep dive and shortlist the key areas
Right.
where you need to see
Right.
that you don't want any surprises coming through the way.
Right.
So it is best that you understand the PPA correctly,
Right.
and if need be, then you negotiate on those terms.
Right. And what are the like top three terms if you have to advise to the people that they should watch out in PPA?
Yeah.
3, 4, 5, whatever that you want to share. Anything that you have?
So apart from pricing, I think there are a couple of clauses where we paid more attention towards. One was the exit clause.
Okay.
Like, we had a certain time, but then in any case, any eventuality, how we could come out,
Right. Yeah, that's
from
important for
from
any
that
business.
agreement. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And secondly is the banking arrangement.
Right.
If there is any banking arrangement,
Right.
is that banking arrangement part of the PPA or not?
Right. Right.
And also, the hidden cost. So,
Right.
the tariff is one part, but
Right.
then there are a series of, unseen
Right.
costs. And sometimes, it is due to the regulatory environment also.
Right.
But then, when it comes to wheeling charges, cross subsidy charges,
Right.
transmission losses,
Which is in open access.
yes,
situation. Okay.
which is in
Understood.
open.
And rooftop, like what are the terms that you can advise to the people?
I think rooftop
Or is pretty simpler?
yeah, rooftop is because the solar panels are on your roof,
Right.
and they are generating,
Right.
and there's less risk involved in
Right.
in rooftop compared to group captive or
Right.
open access.
Right. So the PPA is largely simpler. Okay, awesome. So then this rooftop is done. Open access, you mentioned you did it 5 megawatt first time for your Uttar Pradesh facility. And switching from rooftop to open access, what were the three things that you found different between these two solutions? Like rooftop तो घर का है, छत पे लग रहा है. You have a control, you can set up your maintenance team. Open access, you don't know कहाँ लगेगा, and it's highly regulatory driven, right? Banking and the charges. So how did you like ensure that these risks will be mitigated? Because that's a far more riskier solution.
Absolutely. So, Gaurav, with the rooftop, there is a limitation on the size of the plant. You cannot have more. It's restricted to the amount of the roof you have.
Absolutely. Right.
And that too on the south sloping side.
Right.
So, you can almost have the solar plants at like 50-60% of the space.
Absolutely.
So for us, if we had to increase our renewable energy portfolio, that meant that we'll have to go for open access.
Okay.
And
why? Because of space?
Because of space.
Okay.
If we have to go for 8 or 10 megawatts, that would require almost 40-50 acres of rooftop space, which is a big challenge.
Right.
So we decided to go for open access in UP.
Okay.
And fortunately, we found a very good developer with a great past record.
Right.
And their execution capabilities, and of course the financial strength.
Right.
So I think once the PPA was finalized, and I think the timeline that we had discussed,
right,
the power came in that time,
right,
and we have been enjoying huge savings from that plant.
Okay, and that payback is also done.
So
for open access or like
so open access started almost like
savings are
1 year back.
Recovered
So
the investment.
not the investment, but we are on track to.
You're on track.
Yeah, we are on track to achieve that.
Okay.
In fact, we have expanded that open access from 5 megawatts to 8 megawatts now.
Okay. So when you disclose this in your balance sheet, to investors, like how do you feel and how do they feel? Like, is there any leverage that you get while reporting these benefits of renewable energy in terms of savings बढ़ रहा है, profit बढ़ रहा है, and also you are at renewable and meeting the renewable energy goal. So anything that you got special or different response from the investor side of it?
So, being a listed company, so there are a lot of compliances. We
Yes.
have to disclose all the information that is there
Right.
with us.
Right.
And we have been doing so.
Right.
We have been sharing all the information with the exchanges wherever we are, whether it is rooftop or open access
Right.
or green hydrogen for that
Right.
matter. So we are open about this. And the savings, yes, we have to disclose what are the annual savings.
Right.
And it is reported on our annual
Right.
report.
Right.
So whatever savings are there.
But how does investor perceive it? Do they see you differently?
Oh, yes.
Do like people want
It's
to interact more? Like share some story around this because people will get inspired. Because see, one is the hard
Yes.
savings, obviously.
Yes.
Paisa bach raha hai to karo, right? That's and also the environmental concern. But what are the other tangible benefits? Like people seeing you differently from the investor community or anything that you get as a benefit of going green?
Yeah. So we have, like international investors as well.
Okay.
And how finicky they are about the ESG, the
Right.
sustainability
Right.
part.
Right.
And I think going forward, every company will have mandatory ESG requirements.
Right.
And at Hitech, we have taken the initiative and we have taken a lead
Right.
in this space that, we want to be proactive.
Right.
And before the regulation kicks in, we want to be, we would want to be at our meeting our 100% renewable energy goals before the regulation
Okay.
comes in.
And on the series on the investor side, on the customer side, like when you go and sell your products in B2B or B2G side, like leveraging this renewable energy, does that give you anything, any benefit? Or if you are exporting your product, like do you get, for example, like I was talking to Mr. Singla in my previous podcast, he said their customers who procure 70% of the revenue or the product,
Right.
they said that if you are not able to achieve 100% by 2027, we are blacklisting you.
Oh, wow.
So that's the pressure in auto industry, right? And because these companies have made mandatory that the vendor whosoever getting registered should have renewable energy power.
Yes.
So is that the case in your industry, or you are seeing that happening?
So I see that happening for sure. When we deal with our international clients, they
Which countries?
European countries.
European countries. Okay.
So they definitely see, the carbon footprint that
Okay.
you have. They send a big questionnaire, and the maximum focus is towards ESG.
Okay.
Yeah. So and they rate the big companies. They rate the vendors.
Okay.
And only if there is a certain qualification criteria,
Right.
if you have met
Right.
that
Right.
qualification criteria, you can supply in the Europe.
Okay.
And the new regulation, the carbon border
Right.
adjustment mechanism that
Right.
is coming in place. So I think for all the companies in India, it will eventually become mandatory.
Okay. And how much is your export percentage revenue?
So currently it is about 8 to 10%.
8 to 10%.
And we are growing this portfolio.
Okay. So this renewable energy will help you grow this portfolio, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. And in terms of India, like remaining 90% is all B2B or B2G?
It is B2B and B2C as well. And
Okay.
B2B, we are dealing with top corporates of India, largest EPC companies.
Okay.
And big, construction and infrastructure companies.
Okay. And do they also keep as a checklist mechanism that the vendor should have renewable energy while selling their product, or is yet to happen?
You definitely get an edge.
Okay.
If you are
Edge means like, there is some pointers that you get, or some are there tangible benefits or intangible?
So right now it is like, intangible.
Okay.
So, it helps your case, like if you are a carbon, neutral, or, if you're going in that direction, that will certainly help.
Right.
The customer sees you, as a leader in your
Okay.
space,
Okay.
and that gives an, extra advantage when
Okay.
it comes to
Okay.
dealing with.
Can you tell me some case like where this happened? I mean, where you submitted the bid or participated, and then through renewable energy, I mean, you got a better seat there, or had a help in negotiation or in discussion?
So, that, Hitech is part of the supply chain
Right.
when it comes to
Right.
solar sector.
Right. Yes.
We are
Yes.
one of the largest, component supplier to the solar trackers.
Right. Right.
And when we, go to and when we meet our customers, and definitely, this, your own captive solar, this definitely is talked about.
Hmm.
And we share our passion and our vision
Right.
that, we want to be, carbon neutral as early as by 2030.
Right.
And that is a big inspiration
Hmm.
for everybody in
Right.
the ecosystem.
Okay. So you've done Maharashtra, Andhra, UP, and Gujarat.
Yeah.
Like out of these 4 states, what is the one thing that you found differently in terms of, let's say, on-site solution? And what would you say? Who is the better? Which is the better state? I know you want to be biased towards UP, but let's be like, the policies,
Yes.
right? That's why you did it. So which state do you think like?
So I think out of all four, all 4 states are, friendly towards solar. So,
But if you have to do 1, 2, 3, 4,
so when it comes to generation, Gujarat is
Gujarat is awesome, right?
is
Yeah.
the max.
Mm.
We
And
definitely
regulations?
10, 15, very, very flexible,
Okay.
very flexible.
Okay.
And I think, Gujarat is allowing more than 100%
Right.
of your, they have
Contract
recently
demand.
changed. Yeah, they have recently changed this.
Right.
And I think that is a wonderful step.
Right. Right. Okay.
And
Which is the second state?
second is UP,
Okay,
net
okay.
metering with banking facility.
Hmm.
I think, UP, coming from where they were,
Right, right.
and now where they are,
Right.
I think they are dictating the,
Absolutely.
dictating
Absolutely.
terms.
Right. And then third one?
And third is Andhra.
Andhra.
Andhra
Okay.
is also flexible.
Okay.
The regulations and the generation is also satisfactory.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in terms of open access, I understand you have done it in UP so far.
Yeah.
What about other states? Are there plans? What are you waiting for?
So yeah, now now we want to go for private, ground mounted
Solutions.
Yeah.
Okay. Which means within the plant or outside plant?
Outside the
Okay.
plant, yeah, outside the plant.
Hmm.
So we are, analyzing 2, 3 proposals,
Okay.
and I think we'll be shortlisting one of them very, very shortly.
Okay.
And before March, we will take this
Okay.
step.
So this is for the other locations. that
Yeah,
you're
other
talking.
locations.
Okay.
Yes.
And in terms of this is what you talked about rooftop like your favorite states, right? In terms of open access, is the sequence same or like would you change? Because open access are different regulations altogether.
So open access so far we have done in UP itself,
हाँ.
and
So वो number one होगा वो.
yeah, it is number one, and
Right.
we haven't faced big challenge.
Okay.
How it is perceived that UP में काम नहीं होता है.
Right. हाँ. Absolutely.
But this is not true. I think UP has taken a big change from where they had started, and they are now leading the pack.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Bansal, like all stories cannot be good, right? Stories are stories when there are good and bads, and then finally you emerge and come good. So tell me the moments, like say top 2, 3 moments, and then you felt, yaar, ye kya kar diya? Or like, this was not expected. This is against, like, what are you doing, UP guys? Like, or any state. Like, I mean, while your renewable energy journey, there must be certain moments where you felt things went wrong. Like, अच्छी चीजें तो होगी, right? Obviously, that's how it is. But story also has a bad side of it, which means where you can learn something. Like any top 2, 3 learnings that you can advise to the viewers who can learn before they go into that step, because you have already learned it.
Yes. So basically, fortunately, we haven't been in the zone where we have regretted any of our decisions yet. But so you have to admit that you'll not get the exact what you have.
मतलब कभी ऐसे हो यार टैरिफ ज्यादा दे दिया, प्रोजेक्ट कॉस्ट थोड़ा 10 लाख कम हो सकता था, मतलब some or probably generation could have been better, technical installation could have, मतलब there's so many situations, right? So like top 2, 3, like coming from your heart to the audience, they will learn. So something like that.
So yeah, so good, very, very important point here. So basically, when we did our first open access PPA,
okay,
and the second PPA,
right,
there was a gap of almost like 75-80 paisa
okay,
per unit.
Right.
But that did not made us regret that decision because we have already saved on that period.
Okay.
So there is no regret on that.
Okay.
But I personally believe that this is the evolvement of the technology,
right?
And as the efficiency of the solar cells is going up, the solar energy cost will be coming down in the long run.
Right. Right.
I have admitted that, and
Hmm.
I've accepted this fact. And no matter what, so even after 1 or 2 years, if the price per unit comes
Right.
down,
Right.
so we'll go for that also.
Okay. So that's a very mature thought process. Like, most of the industry people think कि पहले महंगा ले लिया अब सस्ता ले लिया and then they regret, right? But yes, this is a journey because the technology is evolving.
Yeah.
Any other lesson other than this?
So yeah,
This is a very, very fantastic lesson. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, like, people to accept this is very tough,
yes.
right? But yes, I mean, from learning from you, this will give a good emerging lesson to the people. So any other learning that you can share?
So, there were few paisa increase in the wheeling charges, but we understand, like how will the discoms, if they want to survive,
Right.
and if we are taking the power which is almost like, 3 rupees lesser
Hmm.
than the discom price.
Hmm.
So, for them to survive,
Hmm.
we need to understand, there may be some increment in the wheeling charges
Right.
and so on. So we have accepted that, and I think we are fine with this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So no major hiccups or no major, no major regrets.
Hmm.
I think we have to see, what's benefiting rather than, what could be the
Yes,
potential.
absolutely.
So we have to see about the benefits and the gains.
Hmm.
So yeah.
So shifting a focus a little bit on you. So Cardiff University, then you joined as a marketing executive, third generation entrepreneur to whole-time director. Like, how has this been? Can you stitch that into a story and tell more about Mr. Anish Bansal from university to marketing executive to the whole-time director? And then what are you looking at in next 5 years?
Yeah, so my journey, since I began in year 2007.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is when you passed out.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I passed out, when I joined, and I've seen the best of the times and the worst of the times. I've seen before meltdown, the peaks
Right.
and the meltdown,
Right.
what had happened. And
This you're talking about Lehman Brothers meltdown?
okay, yeah,
2008.
2008
Okay.
financial crisis.
Hmm.
So, like we have done, I've personally seen, the best of the best and the worst of the worst.
Hmm.
And but never ever I've felt low, or I've felt so. Even in the crisis, we have found the opportunities.
Right.
And I can say proudly that in last 10-15 years, the company which was approximately around doing a top line of 250-300 crores
This was when?
in year 2006-7.
Okay. And to
And we are currently getting close to around 4,000 crores
oh, awesome. Almost 20x.
yeah.
Okay.
And the journey has been fantastic. I think it's a great team that we have built.
Right.
Very, very strong leadership team we are having. And now, becoming a pan-India second largest player in this sector
Okay.
gives us good boost.
Okay. And then how was your journey? In 2007, you joined at what designation? Then how did you reach to whole-time director? Was it a direct jump, or like, I'm sure there must be lot of tests. I know it's like it's a family owned and a
Yeah.
third generation you are, but I think it was through a journey, right? So
Yeah. So there were very hard lessons of life, that
okay,
I
I'm interested to know those lessons.
So, like after the financial crisis, the kind of the mess that was created, the banking system was, totally collapsed,
Right.
and we had like huge, these defaults, bank
Right.
defaults.
Right.
But then, we caught up from 2014, and 2014 was the pivotal moment. I personally decided that it is time to now push pedal.
Okay.
A lot of cleaning was taking place,
Okay.
and that was a time when we started expanding our capacity outside of North India.
Okay.
So we went to Gujarat, then we
Okay.
went to Maharashtra, then we went to South, and then we again we had put up our big plant in UP, and then expanded all the other facilities as well.
Okay.
So that was it is about the timing of your decision. So I think we started our Capex when the markets were at the lowest.
Okay.
So the timing was quite quite good.
Okay.
We invested at the lowest when the cycles were at the lowest. So and we could reap the benefits when the tide had turned.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are you seeing yourself for next 2, 3, 5 years? Let's say by 2030. I'm talking about you.
Yeah. So now like of course there is steel is a one vertical for us, a big vertical, and it is expanding at almost like 20-25% per annum. Now alongside the steel business, I really want to venture into renewable energy as a full-time business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
And
interesting.
we are looking forward to some manufacturing supply chain.
Okay.
Now the policy is very conducive.
Right. Right.
Make in India program
Okay.
is a astounding success.
Right.
And we see the supply chain being shifted from from other countries, mainly China, to India.
Right.
And I think this is the point where the technology is also converging. You are getting great cell efficiency.
Right.
You have module mounting systems like trackers that we are doing,
Okay.
where you have 15-20% higher yield. You have battery energy storage systems.
Okay.
Now I think
Right. Right.
I think the country is slowly moving towards energy independence,
Right.
and I think that is the way we'll solve our energy deficit.
So you mean to say Hitech themselves want to venture into solar business verticals, be
Yes.
it manufacturing?
Yes, yes.
Like how did this thought come up? Is it because you have your own consumption? Because you are at 35% level.
Yes.
65% is still remaining. Business is growing.
Yes.
Right? So is it because of your own consumption, or is there something else like is driving this thought? Or
the kind of advancements that are happening
Okay.
in this field.
Right.
Like I said, whether it is cell efficiency or the module mounting systems or the battery energy storage.
Right.
So, this is very exciting. I think, going forward, there is a huge scope. India is targeting a 500 gigawatt
Yes.
installation by 2030.
Right.
So that means, there's a huge opportunity for the entire supply chain.
Okay.
And, the orders what were going to the Far Eastern countries, they are coming back to India now.
Right.
And India is developing its own supply chain.
Right.
And we want to be, part of this supply chain
Okay.
in a big way.
Okay.
And after module mounting systems, we are evaluating certain other product lines,
Understood.
and
And
hopefully
this will be like any state that you have identified for this, or any you have in top of your mind, and why?
so Gujarat is one.
Gujarat is definitely.
Yes, because almost like 70-80% of the solar power deployment is happening in Gujarat and Rajasthan alone,
Right.
and we are already there.
Right.
And the climate and the the industry environment is conducive
Conducive. Absolutely.
for this.
Right.
And I think we'll start with Gujarat, and then we can expand to other states also once we are one step ahead.
Why do you think like Gujarat is always a favorite when it comes to renewable energy or any business? Like, what is the thought process amongst the leadership or amongst the politicians, amongst the bureaucrats there, which is not there in probably other states? Like, you have done a lot of business, so give us some insights. I mean, you as a businessman
Yeah.
would have interacted with them. How do they think differently?
There's something different about Gujarat.
Yes,
We
why?
have to admit.
What do they like?
I think the entrepreneurial skill that the Gujaratis have,
Right.
like the big manufacturing clusters, whether it is ceramics,
Right.
chemicals,
Right.
renewables,
Right.
and the top corporates
Right.
are from Gujarat.
Right.
So I think the entire state is driven towards entrepreneurial journey, and that gives us a good boost. That gives a good boost to the entire ecosystem
Right.
of the state.
Right.
And I think it is very, very clean state.
Right.
There are no surprises,
Right.
and ease of doing business
Right.
is great there. We don't get bothered by the
Okay.
the regulations.
Okay. For your steel manufacturing
Yes,
plants
yes,
as well.
yes.
Okay. Okay. So things are smooth,
Yeah,
defined.
and definitely, there's a port accessibility.
Yeah.
So whether it is like imports or exports, you have a good access to the ports,
Right.
and the energy infrastructure, the grid infrastructure is quite advanced.
Okay.
We don't see any power outages.
Right.
So I think that has helped us in scaling up there.
Okay. So, Mr. Bansal, we talked about Hitech's venture into rooftop, open access. And I'm very happy to hear that your only company was done green hydrogen also
Yes.
in your industry. Tell us, what did you do? What did you do? How did you do? I'm very curious to know the steps that you have taken in green hydrogen space. And how did this thought come up?
So, hydrogen is part of our energy mix. We
Okay.
require hydrogen as a part of our energy requirement for our plant. So, venturing into,
Which means it's your raw material.
yeah,
Okay.
it is a source of energy for us.
Okay.
And currently it is like gray hydrogen. We have our own ammonia cracker plant in-house,
Okay.
and we get the ammonia and we crack it
Okay.
for our hydrogen requirement.
Okay.
But once this, green hydrogen opportunity that came our way, I think I was very keen on this. And as a, that will also give me understanding about the technology. So
Okay.
in future, if we want to leverage this technology when it comes to, like I was talking earlier, like getting into supply chain. So that will give me a lot of insight into how this technology actually works. And no better example than, seeing it yourself at your own facility.
Right.
So I think that was a major, incentive for us. And it's a pilot project, and it will be commissioned by March of this year.
Okay.
And we are really hopeful of, positive outcomes from this plant.
Okay.
So we'll be shifting from, say, gray hydrogen to green hydrogen.
But like, if I have to understand in layman terms, तो gray hydrogen है क्या? और green hydrogen कैसे बन जाता है? मतलब what is the difference?
So gray hydrogen is when you are producing hydrogen from the conventional sources of energy.
Power. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And green hydrogen is that, you are generating hydrogen through renewable sources.
Okay. Understood.
So earlier it was we were buying ammonia, and then we were cracking it. When we were cracking it, we were using grid power.
Okay.
So that made it gray hydrogen.
Okay. Understood.
But now our hydrogen electrolyzer will be powered through renewable source.
Okay.
And through solar energy.
Okay.
So that will make it green hydrogen.
Okay. And this solar energy will be on-site or off-site? Like,
this is 100% on-site.
And this will be installed where, like on your roofs or?
No. So we have we have earmarked a separate area for this.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of safety concerns also around it, and we have to take the best of the precautions.
Okay.
And we have identified a space in the facility, and we'll be installing it there on ground. On ground.
On ground.
Yeah.
Okay, understood. And this will be dedicated. The entire power that gets produced from this will be used for cracking ammonia.
No. So this electrolyzer technology will be using the hydrogen produced from this plant for our energy requirement.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. That's quite exciting. And this power will not go to the grid, right? This will be only purpose is
we'll be using the hydrogen gas as part of our production process.
Understood. And this power which will be generated will be throughout the day, or it is only when the sun comes in, etc. How does it work?
So yeah, it will be round the clock. The hydrogen generation will be round the clock.
Okay.
And we'll be using this hydrogen gas 24/7.
24/7.
Yes.
Understood. But the power generation will be for during the sunlight hours.
Yeah.
Understood. Okay. And this you have.
And then there is storage also. So
there is storage also.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there is hydrogen gas storage also.
Okay.
So excess hydrogen gas stored during the day, and it will be used in the night.
Okay. Yeah. Understood. And this is when you say pilot. So like, what do you mean by that? Why are you calling this as a pilot?
So it's a small. It's not a very big electrolyzer facility. So almost to the tune of 1 megawatt.
Okay.
And so once we know the results are there and we see the benefits and everything, and we'll be moving on to the next phase.
Okay. So you have a bigger requirement, but you're starting with a megawatt to test and understand this.
That's correct.
Okay, understood. And this is like, how is it different from traditional rooftop open access? How is it different? Like, what are the different challenges that you face, or different things that you have to look at while understanding this?
For us also, it's a very new subject, and we are still learning. Every day, whenever we are talking about the implementation with the vendors, and I think I'll be able to judge this only once it becomes operational.
Okay.
And we are keeping our fingers crossed because safety is the biggest concern here, because you are storing hydrogen.
Right.
And you have to make sure that all the systems and best practices of the industry are met with.
Okay.
So I'm focused more there, And once it is running, I think that will become a big test case for the entire industry.
Right.
And it will give the motivation to other industries also
Right.
to see this
Understood.
and install it
Okay.
at their facilities also.
And this is are you going for your own investment, or is this under an Opex model? And why did you choose a particular model for this?
So we have seen this technology outside India
Okay.
working. We have seen the
Which country?
electrolyzer plant in
Like
Spain.
Spain.
Yeah.
So you have yourself.
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
And we have seen this running, and we are quite confident of the technology partner that we have chosen.
Okay.
And once it is operational, I'm sure this pilot project will be showcased across diverse industries.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And
Okay. And does it bring any cost savings also? Or is it like just a gray to green?
right
Well,
now,
I mean,
no.
are like solar
Yes,
brings a lot of
yes, yes.
economics. You said payback is
Yeah,
also
yeah.
4.5 years. In group captive, it is much faster, right?
Yes.
In this, like making an investment, are there any cost drivers, economics, or what is driving? Like from gray to green is one driver, I understand that. But are there any cost advantage as well?
So currently, this technology is also evolving, and the cost of hydrogen is coming down,
Right.
like every year. And right now, we may not get like financial advantage
Okay.
immediately,
Okay.
but for the next phase, definitely, there'll be huge savings.
Okay.
But we'll get a whole idea about this, and we'll get used to this technology so that we can use this across all our different manufacturing locations. So
Understood.
this is like a, as I said, it's a pilot project, and we'll be learning a lot from this, and we'll be doing some amendments and some improvements also
Okay.
for our next phases.
Understood.
But then we'll set the ball rolling.
Okay. Understood. So 2030, today, 4 states, 8 plants. How do you see high tech in 2030 in terms of these numbers?
So we have a very clear roadmap.
Okay.
So
Which is
yeah, we are currently at a 1 million ton capacity, and
okay.
we want to become a 2 million ton player.
Okay.
And we are adding new facilities. We are adding some capacities in our existing units. So cumulatively, I think in 3 to 4 years' time, we'll be reaching at our 2 million ton capacity.
Okay.
And with this, we'll be bringing in very innovative solutions in the Indian market.
Okay.
And a lot of import substitution will be taking place
Okay.
through this
Okay.
route.
And are you expanding to another states as well, other than the states that you are currently at? And one more thing that intriguing to me is when you expand the state, what do you look at? Do you also look at renewable energy? कि यहाँ policy है, regulation है? Does that become how important that parameter for you on a scale of 1 to 10?
Today, I think this is the foremost.
Foremost.
Yeah.
So 10 on 10.
Yes.
Okay.
This, deciding on the state, I think the first parameter that comes to our, when we when we give marks to the project, I think the open access
Right.
or the
policy,
of the state is the foremost,
Wow.
because ultimately the energy cost means a lot
Right.
for the industry,
Right. Right.
and getting the energy, consistent energy, and at a competitive pricing is one of the major key drivers
Okay.
when it comes to decision making
Right.
on the plant.
No, listening from leaders like yourself actually giving me goosebumps right now. Like how pivotal, important the renewable energy for industry today, right? Opening up a new state, the
Yes.
first thing that you're looking at, ki renewable energy policy or regulations kaise. Like that's a
Absolutely.
tremendous, thought
Absolutely.
process, and the way you're looking at renewable energy is actually giving me goosebumps right now.
So, just to give you one example, I would not like to name the state, but this state, they did not, align with the practices that were happening, and the industry has become bust there because the industry, the neighboring state,
Right.
is giving, access to,
Absolutely.
cleaner and cheaper source of energy,
Right.
and that industry of that state has gone down, while
Absolutely.
the neighboring state, the industry in the neighboring state, they have flourished.
Right.
So you see this, this impacts a lot.
This impacts a lot.
This impacts a
Absolutely.
lot, and now
Very true.
with the energy cost, with the efficiencies and with the advancements,
Right.
it is becoming even more relevant
Right.
in today's time.
Right. No, that's a fantastic way to approach as a business leader
Yes.
looking at renewable energy. So, like, what are two states that you're looking at, let's say by 2030? Or like you will expand in these four states, or any thoughts, any high level thoughts that you have?
No, we are expanding pan India. So Central India and Eastern India, we are exploring a
Okay.
few geographies there.
Okay.
And I think, in less than a year's time, we'll be starting
Right.
commissioning
Even your
those
portfolio
areas.
also talks about, because all these four states, Andhra, Gujarat, Maharashtra, UP, are actually one of the best in terms of renewable energy.
Yeah, we have not had any bad instance in
Right.
all these four.
Right.
Policies are good,
Right.
and they are accommodating new policies and new when it comes to policy implementation. That is also there. So we're not facing big hurdles when it comes to like
Okay.
in these states.
So 16 megawatt by 2030, how much more? How much more you're looking at?
So on our incremental capacity, I think eventually we'll have to go to 70, 75 megawatts.
Okay. From 16 to today.
Yeah, 16 to today
Okay.
for the incremental capacity as well.
Mm.
And I think we are
This is keeping 2 million tons in.
yes,
Okay.
absolutely. So we have to plan
So your 35% today is keeping 1 million ton or 2 million ton?
the current capacity.
Current capacity.
The current
Oh.
capacity.
So at a 2 million ton, this is basically 17.5%.
Yes, correct. So
Okay.
there's a long
There's a long way.
there's a long way to go.
Okay. Understood. So like how many? 70, 75 megawatt more?
Yes, absolutely. 60 megawatts.
60 megawatts more. And have you thought about what would be the mix in future? Like right now, the mix is beautiful.
Yeah.
You have rooftop,
Yes.
Capex structure, Opex structure, group captive, and one of the pioneer to do green hydrogen. And congratulations on that. So how do you see the mix going forward?
So we'll have to go for ground mounted for sure.
Which means a group captive,
group
open access
captive
solution
with energy storage.
with energy storage.
Yeah.
Right.
Because right now, I think with the grid imbalance and we are using the energy at night also, but then,
Right.
that is not available
Right.
yet.
Right.
So once the energy storage becomes competitive, which I'm sure will soon be.
Will soon be.
Yeah, and we'll be going with ground mounted solution with storage.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is what we are thinking. But let's see, how it goes.
And how much percent would you be? Like from 35% at 2 million tons, how much percentage that Mr. Bansal want to take Hitech's pipe to?
So at 2 million tons, we'll be doing a revenue of about 10,000 crores.
Right.
And by 2030, I have personally taken my mission is to become carbon neutral by 2030.
Okay.
So we'll have to plan our energy mix in such a way.
So this will be nothing less than 100% then.
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Understood. So, Mr. Bansal, let's say if you have to pick between renewable energy or cost savings, which one would you pick and why?
So dil or dimag, both have different answers.
Right.
But I think both are imperative.
Both are imperative. Right.
Yeah, we need to see our economics when it comes to energy sources,
Right.
and we also have to be conscious towards the environment.
Right.
I think that is the long-term goal it should be the long-term goal of every individual, that to bring down the carbon footprint.
Right.
And personally, I think I am very, very conscious of the environment because the state we are living in, like in
Right.
Delhi, you see,
Right.
you have to really, find oxygen
Right.
here.
Right.
But then, it'll become a very, very chaotic situation if we don't take right decisions at
Right.
this stage.
Right.
So,
And parallelly, it's a commercial discussion, right? So the business requires that cost savings, right?
yes, absolutely. Because, we are living in a very competitive world.
Right.
And, for us to meet the standards of the, other countries,
Absolutely.
so we'll have to follow the same or even beat them at it.
Right.
Yeah.
So one curious question, like you have done a lot of solar, right? Like, did you get a chance to explore wind, or like you didn't even get a chance? Like you're talking about storage, which is fantastic technology coming
Yeah.
up, and it complements solar so well. because solar दिन में generate करेगा, store करेगा, and in the evening
Yes.
this can be discharged. But did you ever think about like doing wind plus solar combination? Any high level thoughts that you have?
Yeah, I think now, with the hybrid, with the policies and new policies have come in, and they are really good. And, the cost of wind energy has also, come down. And I think it is at a very, very, a breakthrough sort of similar situation.
Right.
And, of course, in our future journey from 16 megawatts to, 70, 75 megawatts, definitely will definitely play a
Absolutely.
role, because, it is 24/7, and, there's no issue on the storage part also.
Right.
So I think to balance it out, we'll definitely look at wind also.
Right.
Especially Gujarat, I think that is the best wind 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 state.
Right. So most of the viewers who might be watching this are some at a stage that they are want to do it, but they are not able to take a step because they perceive a lot of risk, fear. So three things that you want to tell them so that their risk, fear, perception goes away and they just take the step ahead.
So my personal advice to the viewers and the people who are interested in the renewable, I think this is the best time.
This is the best time.
This is the
Okay.
best time.
Why?
The module prices have touched
The rock bottom. Yes.
and we are now seeing module prices going up slightly.
Right.
The systems like balance of plant systems also
Right.
come down very, very low.
Right. Right.
And I think the cost per unit is among the lowest
Right.
that we have seen in quite some time.
Right. Absolutely. So
And
opportunity time. Okay.
There is very, very minimal risk entering at this stage.
Right.
And I think just finding the right partners, right developers,
Right.
and right technologies, I
Right.
think that is the key.
Right.
And one can take one small step, and based on the learnings, they can take a bigger step
Right.
after the first. But it is one should take that first step now.
Okay. So you have a lot of experience learning, going into renewable energy, leading high-tech pipes to be there. Now you are on a path to go to 60, 70 megawatt by 2030. So let's say if you have to go and tell government, let's say if you meet Mr. Modi tomorrow
Yeah.
and you have to tell him three things, Mr. Prime Minister, you need to do differently
Yeah.
so that you can get a renewable energy cheaper, best, and all that time. What are the three things that you tell him?
Yeah, firstly, our Prime Minister is very, very focused towards,
Yes.
solar energy.
Right.
We all know.
Right.
The policies are in place, like, the PM Kusum, Surya Ghar, these are like, groundbreaking
Right.
policies,
Right.
and nowhere in the world these policies are there. But from my side, small challenges that we face is like, the bankability
Right.
of solar energy.
Right.
That is not there
Right.
yet. So we are not able to fully exploit
Right.
the potential
so
of
evening hours you are
solar
not able
energy.
to offset.
Yes,
There are
evening.
banking restrictions in the states. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yes, I agree with you.
So I think this is the major, there has to be some solution where the discoms are also not, they are not like stressed.
Right.
And while the consumer also, gets the full benefit of the solar power across, across the entire day and night.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Understood. So India has an ambitious goal, 500 gigawatt by 2030, right? You as the industrial leader
Yeah.
or as a corporate leader,
Yeah.
like where do you think the corporates can play a role in this? How much gigawatt that they can contribute? And what is your thought? Like you stand accountable because you lead a corporate,
Yeah.
right? So from that accountability, what do you want to commit to renewable energy industry?
I think corporates have, jumped in the renewable space of late.
Yes.
And we know, earlier the entire supply chain was in China, but now, slowly and steadily it is coming to India now.
Right.
So module making, cell making, and other balance of plant systems, they are now coming in India. There are big ticket projects, like, we are talking about gigafactories being set up in India for the first time. And at Hitech, we have taken initiative in the module mounting systems because module mounting systems, it becomes almost like a 9 to 10% part of the entire solar plant,
Right.
and we want to have at least a 25% market share in the when it comes to module mounting systems.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, Mr. Bansal, let's say you have to go back to 2007 and get into a shoes of a student of a Cardiff University, and then and if you are going today to do a guest lecture at your college, and there are students who are aspiring, want to hear to you, and especially the vast experience that you have on the leadership side, 20x, you have grown the business. You have contributed so much in the renewable energy from 16 megawatt. The plan is to go to 70 megawatt, and also to do a solar business and renewable energy business. So, what are the three things that you tell these aspiring students, right, when they come to industry from a leadership perspective, right, and also from the, let's say, one point from the renewable energy perspective? I mean, something, let's say you have to give a speech tomorrow to them and tell three things.
So, for me, I can, from my own experience, so what I have observed is that, the focus is very important.
Focus of what?
Focus of your goals.
Focus of your goals, right?
Yeah, and the targets that you set, target setting, goal setting is very, very important.
Right.
And focus on meeting those goals,
Right.
and that perseverance is required.
So goal setting one,
Yeah.
and perseverance is two.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And third is one should embrace the technology.
Right.
I think with the technology, you can really meet the you can go into the uncharted territories.
Okay.
And the technology, when it comes to in your production processes,
Right.
or when it comes to your energy sourcing,
Right.
so all these technology plays a pivotal role,
Right.
and
Right.
one should be conscious and should be one step ahead
Okay.
of the technology.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like these days when we talk about tech, the only thing that comes to people mind is AI,
Yes.
right? So did Hitech Pipe also doing anything on integrating AI into your systems, production side, anything that you're thinking about?
So it is, it is part of the, part of our program, and we are consulting with a lot of, like the techies who are into, AI,
Okay.
and how this can be incorporated in our production processes
Okay.
and our distribution and marketing side.
Okay.
So we are aligning that, and
Okay.
I'm sure in coming 1 or 2 years, we'll leverage this AI technology.
Okay. So these three things are very exciting, like goal setting, perseverance, and then obviously embracing tech. But like, what do you think? How does goal setting play a role? Like, how does it help?
So,
And what is the science behind
yeah.
setting a goal?
So I'll give you an example from
Yes.
my own side.
Right.
So in year 2014, when when the markets were quite dull,
Right.
and at that time, we decided that we'll be 1 million ton
Okay.
there,
Okay.
and that time it seemed impossible.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was usually joked off.
Hmm.
But then,
Right.
and now we have met that goal.
Hmm.
So it gives a it's a sort of manifestation.
Right. Manifestation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So when you set the goal and when you tell yourself that you have to make it come true,
Hmm.
and that gives another kick.
Right.
That gives another
Absolutely.
kick. That gives another
You
kick.
wrote, use the right word. It's actually a manifestation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you're doing it consciously.
Yes.
So, Mr. Bansal, we, as a protocol, we do a rapid fire. And the purpose of this rapid fire is to know you better and also keep the audience engaged. Mr. Bansal, are you ready to get started?
Yes.
Excited?
Totally.
Awesome. 6.5 crore savings or 35% renewable energy. What are you more proud of?
35%.
Okay, great. Number one challenge in renewable energy that you faced so far. Number one,
Maintenance.
maintenance. Okay. Rupees 3 per unit saving or power delivery in 2 months. Which one would you pick?
3 rupees.
Not early delivery?
No.
Okay. Number one advice that you want to give to other leaders, corporate leaders.
Go for it.
Okay, awesome. And Capex or Opex? Which model?
Capex.
Capex. Developer with cheaper tariff or credible developer with, let's say, 50 paisa higher tariff?
Credible developer.
With 50 paisa higher tariff. Good choice. So one word to describe future of renewable energy for Hitech Pipes.
Game change.
Game changer. Okay. One advice for the Gen Z. Gen Zs, like these generation today's, they're very different from us. So one advice that you want to give it to them.
It's quite sunny here.
Okay. One word to describe high-tech pipes renewable energy journey so far.
Transformational.
Okay, awesome. Mr. Bansal, since you said you are very conscious about the environment, so one habit that you in your personal life follow being environmental conscious that you do daily, almost daily.
So whenever we purchase any electrical appliance, I definitely see the energy efficiency of that
Okay,
appliance.
so that's the biggest parameter that
Yes,
you look at,
yes.
other than the cost.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Now let's move to little personal side of you. Which is your favorite book or leader?
I read this book by Bill Gates, How to Avoid the Climate Disaster,
Okay.
and that was a big eye opener.
Okay, that's your favorite book?
Yes.
Awesome. Biggest lesson when you started as marketing executive, not as a whole-time director. During those days, what is the biggest lesson that you learned? And then you want to tell your, the kids who are coming up or the people who are joining now as a marketing executive.
Follow your gut.
Follow your gut. Okay. And why do you say this?
I think we get off track sometimes, but then
Okay.
if you follow your instinct, you will definitely you'll
And that's
be
worked for
successful.
you.
Yes.
Okay. One decision at Hitech Pipes that you are most proud of. Number one decision that you're most proud of. I took this decision and this changed.
The decision of remaining in our business and focusing on our business.
Okay.
Yes.
The focus.
Yes.
So there was a moment when you were like you were defocusing or stuff.
So there were a lot of opportunities
Okay.
at different times.
Okay.
But then we did not derail our mission, our goal.
Right.
Yeah.
So forte is forte, right?
Yes.
Awesome. So work from home or work for office?
Work from office.
Why?
The energy that is there, when you sit with your team
Right.
and the ideas that come up and
Right,
you
right.
feel that
Right,
you
right,
feel
right.
that
The emotions.
emotional connect. Yes.
Right. So similarly, e-meeting or physical meeting?
Physical meeting.
Okay. And why?
Again, the same thing, like the emotions come out and the camaraderie
Right.
that
The handshakes, that
Yes.
discussion is far better, right?
Yes.
One thing that you do every day to stay motivated. Is there anything that you follow?
I meditate.
You are
Meditate.
meditate.
Yeah.
Okay. That helps?
Yeah, of
And
course.
how, like, is it morning or?
Yeah. So it's a daily exercise.
Okay.
And that helps me keep focused.
Okay. And also stay calm.
Yes.
Okay. Do you get angry at work?
Sometimes.
Okay. And like how often?
Yeah,
In a
it
month,
happens,
like how much percentage?
It happens off and on,
Okay.
but then we try to manage it.
Okay. Understood. And what is the biggest motto of your life now?
The biggest,
Motto,
Okay.
motive.
the
Like
biggest
why
motto of life.
why do you think Mr. Anish Bansal exists on earth?
So I think I really want to contribute towards the society,
Okay.
and the renewable energy is one side. I think this energy independence that we are talking about. I think I should be able to play a role in this
Okay.
this journey.
So that's a motto.
Yes.
Okay. So wish you all the best to achieve this 70 megawatt goal. You've already manifested it. You've clearly broken down what are the technologies that you will use, and I'm sure you will be successful. And thank you so much for being part of this podcast, sharing your learnings with other industrial leaders. And I'm so much impressed by the journey that you have led at Hitech to follow, and by doing this 16 megawatt and 35% renewable energy. So congratulations to you.
Thank you, Gaurav. It was my pleasure. Totally enjoyed it. Thank you.